it's Natasha, and today I have a special presentation for you. My amazing father, Dr. Andy, who is an amazing chef by the way, is going to actually do a very special recipe for you. It's one of our family's favorites, and it's actually authentic salsa that he learned how to make in Mexico. So this is authentic Mexican salsa, the Mexican way, and the right way, you know. So if you guys want to know how to make salsa the best possible way that you can, because it's great to have, you know, these hot summer months with some tacos at, you know, after you get home from work or at a barbecue on the weekend with your friends, then keep watching and we'll post the recipe below so that you have all the right information. All right, take it away.
Great on fresh salmon. So as you probably all know, salsa is a pretty simple dish. And everybody makes it, but most people don't make it the traditional Mexican way. So I'm going to show you how that's done as taught to me by a chef in Zihuatanejo, Mexico. So salsa only has 5 ingredients. You have onion, of course, which I've already chopped for the sake of brevity, because you don't, I'm sure you all need, you know how to chop onion, I'm sure of that. You got tomatoes, preferably Roma, just because they're more firm and they seem to work well. Jalapeno, cilantro, and the ever-present limes, which you must have for most Mexican cuisine. So, this is not really very complicated, but I want to show you some tricks that will make it easier for you and make it so that you can make it more authentic. Oddly enough, in most restaurants in Mexico, they don't actually serve authentic Mexican salsa. They serve that slurry stuff, which I hate myself. But there's a few restaurants that actually hand make their salsa, and I'm going to show you how they do it. You need a good chopping board. Preferably, my preference is rock hard maple. I actually made this cutting board myself. And you need a really good knife. Preferably a chef's knife, because they're best for chopping, and it needs to be razor sharp. You ever tried to cut a tomato with a dull knife? It doesn't work. So to do this technique, you have to have a sharp knife. It doesn't have to be expensive, it just has to be sharp. So we'll start with the tomato. I'm not going to do the whole thing because that would take too long, but I will demonstrate sort of one of each so you get the idea. So that you wonder when you get real salsa, how do they get those little cubes of tomato? If you just randomly chop them up, they're not going to look like that. So I'll show you how you do that. You cut your Roma tomato in half like that, and then you turn it cut side down, turn your knife sideways, and you cut almost all the way through till you just about come out the other side. And then you go up a little higher, and you cut almost all the way through. So you actually end up with 3 slices, like that. Okay? Then you turn it 90 degrees, approximately. And then you cut it straight down into more or less equal sized pieces, like that. And keep it together. Okay? Then you turn it 90 degrees again. And this is why you have to have a sharp knife, because this step will just turn the tomato into mush if your knife isn't sharp. So you have to be able to cut across to get those nice little cubes. See how we have the nice little cubes of tomato? But if the knife is not sharp, it'll just smush into there, and then you don't get these nice little cubes. So the knife has to be really sharp. And you want the tomatoes not to be too ripe either. If your Romas are really soft, they're really hard to cut. Okay? So, one time there, almost through. Second time, turn it 90 degrees. Hold it with your finger so it doesn't move across the cutting board. Okay? Like that. And then turn it again, and then cut straight down. And you end up with all these nice little cubes of tomato, just like that. And it's just that easy. Into the bowl. Now, the jalapeno. I had no idea how to properly cut a jalapeno and you think, everybody says, oh, don't get that on your fingers, it burns, and then you'll touch your eyes and then your eyes burn and all that. So if you do this right, you don't have to worry about it. I'm not wearing gloves. I never wear gloves. So I'll show you how to do this. You cut the end off, like that, okay? Turn the jalapeno on its point, and then you just slice the sides off, like this. 3 times like that. So now we have, if you get the odd seed in there, if you don't want them, you just clean them out. You can see there's no seeds, because the heat in the jalapeno is all in the seeds and the membrane. So this is what you have left. So you just turn that up on end, this way, and then you just clean the seeds and everything out of there like that. And that's the hot part of the jalapeno. And you never even had to touch it, right? Easy peasy. So then you slice these little guys as thin as you can, more or less. Again, it helps if you have a sharp knife. If your knife is dull, this is really hard to do. Watch your fingers. And you line all these little guys up, sort of like, looks like julienne carrots, doesn't it? So then you chop this way. Always curl your fingers in like this, so your knife runs on your knuckle, so you don't cut the end of your finger off. And as for most things that you chop, you keep the tip of the knife on the board. Okay? You rock on the board like this. You don't take the knife off the cutting board. It gets a little sloppy here at the end, but that's okay. Then you just push it together, and the way that I do it, most people do it, you just chop it. Just like a little chopper. Just like those ones you see on TV. Only more authentic. You know, some people get nervous about sharp knives. They think, oh, I'm going to cut myself with a sharp knife. Dull knives are far more dangerous than sharp knives because they slip. They don't cut, they slip, and then you cut your finger. Like that. There you are. And there's your jalapeno. And this part of the jalapeno will not burn you. It has more flavor than it does heat. It's a little hot, and the amount of jalapeno you put in depends on how hot you like it. So there's your tomato, your jalapeno, you dump in your onion, and the proportions that you use are somewhat determined by your preference. Some people like a lot of onion, some people only like a little bit of onion, and the same thing with the cilantro. Some people like lots of cilantro, some people like a little bit of cilantro. Some people like it big, some people like it little. So you can adjust this as you go, depending on your preference. So what I do is I just take the cilantro, I wash it, dry it a little bit, and then I don't muck around, I just chop it off. And there's my cilantro. And then, same deal. I just chop it up. And this is why you need a good chef's knife. Your knife has to be designed in such a way that your knuckles do not hit the cutting board. And only a chef's knife will do that. If you try to use something else, you would be going bang, bang into the cutting board. You'll bruise yourself. So you can figure out your own preference in terms of how small you like this. I usually chop it about like that, and it takes about that long. Oh, Natasha, can you get me the special lime squeeze out of the drawer over there?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So that's really all there is to it. Just like that. It's just that easy. Now, you got to get one of these. If you haven't seen these, this is an Authentic Mexican lime squeezer. They come in 2 sizes. This is for the kind of limes that we get in Canada. and most of the US because they're quite big. If you go to Mexico, I know for sure in Zihuatanejo, Cabo, the limes are quite small, and you can actually get a small version of this, which I also have. But our limes, you need the big one. They won't fit. These will not fit in a little one. So it depends on where you are. Most kitchens in Mexico, they actually supply one of the small ones of these. So just take your lime, cut it in half, and then if you score it across a little bit, it actually squeezes better. 1 or 2 slices across, and then you just pop it in here. Cut side down like that. Okay. And then you flip that down and you just squeeze it together. Squeeze her over and then turn it sideways so that make sure the juice runs out. And then I usually just have a garbage can handy. And then you just take it like that and out comes the lime. Stick in the next one. Squeeze it down. Out comes the lime. Just like that. Really fast. I don't know why we didn't invent something like this. It's so much better than those little guys where you go like this. I mean, you can see how fast that is, right? And then you give it a toss. I don't have all the ingredients in here yet because you don't need to watch me slice 4 tomatoes. So you toss it all up really well, and then one of the key ingredients to salsa is salt. You need to have enough salt or it just doesn't taste right. Don't go easy on the salt. Okay? If you're trying to maintain a salt-free diet, don't eat this stuff. So you put in lots of salt. You just do it to taste. And the same thing with the lime juice. You taste it and you say, it's not limey enough. Put in some more lime juice. It's not salty enough. Put in some more salt. And toss it around. And you are good to go. And as with all food, exactly how you do that is determined by how it tastes and how you want it to taste. Some people like it really salty, other people not so much. And that is your Mexican salsa. And I forgot to mention at the beginning that it goes better with beer. You need to have a beer when you cook. It's like French cooking, you gotta have a glass of wine. When you're making this, you gotta have a beer. So, salute. Enjoy it.
Alright, let me just try a little bit of this.
It might be a bit salty because it's,
Not enough tomatoes.
well, because it's not quite finished and yet it has a lot of salt. Pretty good?
Pretty awesome.
Is okay?
Okay, some more spicy because I think the less tomatoes, which I like.
Well, yeah, you got
I
a
like
whole
spicy.
jalapeno and only 1 tomato, so it's probably quite hot.
That's really good.
Okay, so
All right.
enjoy it. Now
Thank you so
I'm going to
much.
keep chopping and finish this.
Thank you so much for
You're
making
so
it for
welcome.
us.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to give a thumbs up to my page as well. And check out my website, natashajknox.com, to find out where else you can follow me and support me. Alright, have a great evening and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye!
See you next time.